to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over UFC 283, Teixeira versus Hill. First things first, make sure you hit that like button, give a like over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media, there is the Stats and Stacks podcast. Super, super quick review. We did lose one of our locks last week, and not that we got the fight wrong, that she didn't even make it to the scale. Sarge Eubanks, I don't know what they were thinking booking that fight at 125. Both those girls have problems making 125. Just book it at 135. What are we doing here, UFC? But all in all, we did have Dan Ige come through. We had a dog come through and one of our totals come through. It was a pretty decent offering, especially for the very first fight card of the year. Did a good job reading everything, hoping to carry that over into this card. And yeah, it's a 15 fight card, man. It's the first live event of the year. It's a long one. It's a decent one. And it's going to be a tricky one to get through. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the very, very first fight of the night. Some spots I like a lot. Other ones are just 50-50. There's not really any I don't like. It's just a lot of 50-50 or I'm pretty certain. And the first one is the first dog of the night, man. We got Simon Oliveira at minus 155 going up against Daniel Marcos at plus 135. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 110. Under 2.5 minus 120. Let's start with Simon Oliveira because he's someone that I was really excited to fade. In all honesty, he's one of these Dana White Contender Series guys. A little bit of a padded record. Don't really believe in him. Going in, he won a split decision against Jose Alday. I thought he lost. I had money on Jose Alday. It is what it is. That was the Contender Series. He comes in against Tony Gravely and looks decent. He looks okay. He puts Gravely in some trouble, which ironically enough, with his guillotine. That's the thing with this guy. His striking's all right. It's not that good. He hits decently hard. His cardio, not that great. His submission game, it's not that good, but he just grabbed. I've never seen anyone in my life jump guillotine more than this guy. I mean, just look at his record. I mean, he has 16 wins. I want to say, what is he, 16 and 4? 18 and 4. He has 18 wins. I'm telling you right now, all of these are guillotine. He had a triangle, they're a little diversity. He has a loss rear naked choke. Okay. And he has guillotine, guillotine, guillotine. He knocks someone out because he does hit hard. Guillotine, 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 guillotine front choke, which was literally just a guillotine. Like this dude jumps guillotine. It's crazy. And it's not even, there's no technique to it. He must have one hell of a squeeze on him. Otherwise, I mean, he's not that good, to be honest with you. He's very low volume and he's extremely hittable. All he is going to do is try to guillotine you for the entire fight. That's it. And you can get stuck on his back for periods of time. And even just sitting on his back, he's going to try to guillotine you. Like, that's literally all he does. Swing haymakers and go for a guillotine. On the flip side, Daniel Marcus is someone I was actually impressed with on the Contender Series. He's making his debut here. He's someone that we didn't see fight for a long time. That Contender Series fight last year was his first fight in 3 years. So I expected to come out, look a little rusty. That is not what happened, man. He came out and he looked crisp. He looked real good. He's got a shiny 13-0 record. He's 29 years old, just entering the prime. All in all, his striking is what impressed me the most. His striking is very good, even when you look at his record. Most of his wins are by decision or flying knee or KO. I don't really see any submissions. They're all by knockout or decision. He's a striker, and he's a very, very good striker. His wrestling, not too much. It didn't look the greatest. I've only seen it a few times, and Brandon Lewis did get some pretty easy takedowns in the Contender Series. I didn't like that. I think he has a little bit of a wrestling issue, and he did slow down in his fight. Now, part of that could just be pacing, part of that could be nerves, part of that could be the fact that he didn't fight in 3 years. There's a lot that goes into it, but again, it's not like Simon Oliveira has the greatest gas tank. So if they stay on the feet, it's Marcos all day. If it goes down to the ground, for the love of God, Marcos, just don't get guillotine. But at the end of the day, although his wrestling's pretty bad, Oliveira's is not good. So I hope it's good enough to stay on the feet. If it is, he will kill Simon Oliveira on the feet. And it's plus money. He's plus 135. So this is total dog or pass. Not even thinking about betting the other way. So the pick is going to be Daniel Marcos. Bet's going to be Daniel Marcos. And we're starting the night with the dog, baby. Next fight of the night. Call me crazy. We might go dog hunting. I think I have to just stay away from this fight, though. We have Luan Lacerda at plus 280 going up against Cody Stamen at minus 340. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 250. Under 2.5 at plus 200. Let's start with Lacerda, man. He's at a good camp over at Nova União. That's where Jose Aldo used to fight. He's one of the main training partners of Jose Aldo, actually. He's got a nice little shiny 12-1 record, 30 years old, so he's in his prime, making his UFC debut. His jiu-jitsu's legit, man. He has 12 wins. Look at his record. Submission, 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 decision. Go all 3 rounds. Submission, submission, submission. He lost by sub. Submission, submission. So he literally has 11 of his 12 wins are by submission. He even choked out the likes of Julian Paiva. That's a good look. He's good, man. His striking's okay. His striking's not terrible. Usually these Nova União guys are pretty good strikers. His is just okay. He can dish it out. He can't take it. He does not like to get hit. If you hit this dude, he backs up and looks very uncomfortable. He hates it. He can push it out. He can dish it out all he wants, but he does not like any return fire. He's going to have a 10.5-inch reach advantage. That is huge here. And his wrestling is okay. He seems to have pretty good entries. He's very, very good double leg entries. He has trouble finishing, to be honest with you. Even if he shoots and he ends up with a single, he has a trouble running the pipe. He has a trouble just lifting the leg and tripping. He seems to have some finishing issues. It's a blast double or nothing. Again, the entries are very good, but if you're short, stocky, you're good at wrestling at all, he might struggle a little bit to get you down. On the flip side, that's the issue. We have Cody Stamann here, who is predominantly a wrestler, and he's a short, stocky wrestler. Every single takedown I saw Lacerda try to take was a folk style, just traditional single leg or double leg. That's the only takedowns I've seen. I did not see him go Greco. I didn't see him go upper body. It was literally all singles and doubles. Short, stocky guys are like physically impossible to single and double leg. You want to jack them up and you want to just body them to the ground. Not going to happen with Cody Stamann. Stamann has the better wrestling pedigree. He has the better just physical stature for the type of wrestling Lacerda wants to do. Striking, 50-50. I might give the edge to Cody, to be honest with you, but he has zero power. He is pillow fist. He is not knocking anyone out. Yes, you're saying, but his last win was via knockout. Yeah, against Eddie Wineland, who's legitimately like 45 years old in his retirement fight. Like that dude's last 5 losses are all by knockout, so it doesn't really count. On the flip side, I mean, his cardio seems to check out. Everything about Stamann is good. Stamann, all of his losses. Look, Said Nurmagomedov, real. Merab Dvalishvili, about to fight for a title, real. Jimmy Rivera, perennial top 10 guy, real. Aljamain Sterling, current champ. I don't know who Lawrence is all the way back in 2014. Those are all of his losses, man. He's only lost to people that are literally in the top 5 and top 10, Said. So he's only lost to top 10 guys or the champion. That's it. Like, Cody Stamann is legit. The problem being he gets to that top 5 level, loses, and has to start over. That's what keeps happening to him, poor guy. But at the end of the day, you have to take Cody Stamann here. Should he be a minus 340? I think the line's a little high, to be honest with you. That's the only way I'm going in Cody. I've thought about just taking him I've been taking about Luan by sub. I really have, especially if Cody wants to wrestle. But Cody's not stupid. He's going to want to strike with him, and I think he could be the better striker, to be honest. He's not going to knock him out because, again, he has pillow fist. So I really don't hate the over, but if you pick the over, you're basically picking Stamann. Like, there's no other way he wins. He's not going to knock him out. He's not going to tap this guy out. He's going to have to just get a decision. So you could do Stamann by decision, or you can just take a crazy flyer on Lacerda by submission. I'm sure you get good odds on that. I don't know. It's your call. But if you're doing a parlay or something, I'm probably just staying with Cody Stamann. He's the pick. He'll be the bet, but I would just bet him by decision just to try to juice it up a little bit. I talked myself out of taking that Lacerda sub prop. Unless it juices up a little, I'll keep my eye on it. Next fight of the night is one I don't know what to fucking do with. We have Zara Farron as a plus 410 underdog. God, going up against Josiane Nunez, minus 520 favorite. Ugh. Over 2.5 is plus 120. Under 2.5, minus 150. Oh, let's start with Zara Farron. She's one of the worst fighters on the UFC roster, male or female. Like, she's atrocious. She's very, very, very bad. She fancies herself a striker. I guess her striking is okay. I mean, as you try to do fight tape with her, that's how she's winning. I mean, she's winning decisions, she's winning by knockout. That's the only way she's going to win is by KO. I mean, she's apparently a decent striker. Issues with Zara Farron. That's the only positive I can say about her. Negatives about Zara Farron. She's 36 years old. She hasn't fought in 3 years. She has zero wrestling. She has zero jujitsu. If you're getting triangled by Megan Anderson, there's an issue. She got taken down and triangled by Megan Anderson. That's very, very, very concerning. She will have an 8.5 inch reach advantage, which is nice. And she does love to go forward. Josiane also likes to go forward, so it'll be interesting to see who wins that battle. It's just God. I have no positive. She has an 8.5 inch reach advantage, and she's a decent striker. That's literally it. And the decent striker thing, I mean, the level of competition isn't good. Dude, there's nothing good about this girl besides the fact that she's going to have a huge reach advantage. And then it's probably going to be a striking match. Josiane Nunez is not a wrestler. She has no ground game that I'm aware of, at least. Her only loss is to Tyler Santos, which is funny enough. But you want to talk about a can crusher. Man, doing the fight tape on this girl, she's literally fighting girls in gymnasiums and cafeterias. Like these aren't real promotions, whatever they're not in English, so I can't even try to make fun of what they're called. But this one Copa Striker's house, it literally looked like it was someone's house. And please, for the love of God, look at the records. I mean, 0-0. Well, sorry, Tyla was her first ever fight. She had no idea Tyla was real. 1-3, 0-7, 1-0, 0-1, 3-0, 4-0, 2-0. Like, and this is in the UFC. She's fighting someone that's 2-0. They were trying to get Bia Malecki a win. Ramon Pascual is not good at all. They're trying to push the Chinese audience. It didn't work. Yeah, I don't know, man. She's not good. She's in the wrong weight class. She cracks a ton of power. Don't get me wrong. A decent enough striker, hits extremely hard. All of her wins are by KO, but she's fighting all soccer moms. So it's like, what are we really judging here? And she does not need to be at 145. She doesn't need to be at 135. She should be at 125, to be honest with you. She keeps fighting at 145. Zara Farron never makes weight. She really struggles to make 145. So you have someone that can barely make 145 going up against someone that should be fighting at 125. They are not going to look like they're in the same weight class. She has decently high volume. That's about it. So we have two unreliable strikers is what we have here. One is in the wrong weight class, carries a ton of power. The other one is 36 and never fights. Like I don't want to bet on either of these girls. I am going to have to pick Josiane Nunez, but I mean I might be forced to bet Sarah Faird. It sounds freaking disgusting, but the only way you beat this girl is you take her down and you sub her. Josiane Nunez, I don't see a ground game, so she's going to strike with her. And for the first time, Sarah's going to be able to strike. Is she good enough on the UFC level to strike? I don't know. We haven't seen it, so let's find out. And if we find out she is, I want to have that 410 in my pocket. So the pick is going to be Nunez. The bet, God, it's going to be fair. God, that's so gross to say. All right, next fight of the night is another one you just want to stay the hell away from. We have Warley Alves as a minus 120 favorite going up against Nicholas Dalby at plus 100. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5, and under 2.5, both at a straight pick. I'm at minus 115. Let's start with Warley. He's weird, man. Yeah, he's 14-5, but he's fought some really, really good guys. He's fought Colby Covington and submitted him. He's fought Jeremiah Wells. He's fought Lizez, who's on this card. He's fought the aforementioned James Krause. Randy Brown is good. He fought Kamaru Usman, Brian Bam Bam Barberina back when Barberina was good. Alan Jouban. Like, he has fought some really, really good competition, to be honest with you, and beaten a lot of them. Again, he choked out Colby Covington. That's something he can say for the rest of his life. At the end of the day, he has really good jiu-jitsu. His striking, it's okay, but he hits extremely hard. I mean, you can look at the guy and tell how hard he hits. His cardio, very questionable because he's a very killer, be killed fighter. He usually comes out here and murders you or collapses. I mean, he looked all right against Jeremiah Wells at start, and then he got deaded in the second round. He went out there and killed Munir Lizez in 2 minutes. Randy Brown took him out in the second. Sergio Moraes, he actually won in the third, so his power does carry over. James Krause, he lost in the second. It's like, if you can get out of the first round with this guy, Usman, decision. Brian Barberina, decision. Like, he just fades. Like, there's nothing that he fades. Oh, I don't know, man. Round one guillotine, round one. He has a few decisions, but they're mostly first round finishes. He's kill or be killed, literally. Um, on the flip side, we have Nicholas Dalby, who's just trash. He's been the bane of my existence in the UFC. I can't seem to get this guy right, to be 100% honest with you. I tried to take a huge dog in Claudio Silva against him. Claudio went out there and dominated him and then gassed out, and neither man looked good here. I mean, he's 38 years old and he's starting to show it. His chin is a little suspect right now because of his old age. His cardio is a little questionable now because of his old age. He's going to have a 2.5 inch reach advantage here, which is nice. And striking wise, I don't know. He might be the better striker. I'm not 100% certain, but I know that he has a 65% takedown defense. That's not good against someone in Warley Alvarez. You can wrestle a little, and it's a lot better on the ground. Like you shouldn't be getting choked out by Jesse Ronson. And honestly, he didn't just get choked out. He got knocked out, then choked out. It was a literal club and sub. The win over Daniel Rodriguez was very sketchy. I thought he lost. I think he got gifted that. Tim Means whooped his ass. That's sketchy. Alex Oliveira, that was another questionable win. He has a lot of okay wins, but they're all very questionable. Losses to Peter Sabata and Zach Cummings don't look good. Splits over Zaleski. He just has a lot of weird stuff going on with him, but that was back in the day. The older he's getting, the worse he's getting, the worse level of competition he's getting. And honestly, the more fragile he is. And he's fighting this absolute tank of a man in Warley Alves. So the pick is going to be Warley. The bet, I think Worley wins, and if he does, he's gonna have to finish him early. It's at 2.5. I'm actually probably just gonna take the under 2.5 because even if Worley fades for whatever reason and Dalby is able to get the finish, Dalby is generally a decisionator himself. All of his wins seem to be by decision. But in the off chance he gets it done inside the distance, I don't want to be on the wrong side. And Worley, if he gets it done, it's probably going to be inside the distance. It's the same odds. So I'm going to pick Worley, but I'm actually just going to bet the under just because that's basically betting Worley and just in case with Nicholas on the side. All right. Next fight of the night is Greece, man. We have Ishmael Bonfim at plus 105 going up against Terrence McKinney minus 125. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 plus 180, under 1.5 minus 220. The reason is for Terrence T Rex McKinney. He's a dog. I love Terrence McKinney. He has good striking, underrated jiu-jitsu, very good wrestling. No one talks about how good of a wrestler this dude is. He's going to have a 2 inch reach advantage here. He does not take a backward step. He always goes forward. He has a ton of power, probably the most power I've ever seen at 155, we're being 100% honest. There's just one issue with Terrence McKinney. His cardio, not good. Not good at all. Awful. Some of the worst cardio I've ever seen for 155. And yeah, I know Dogger Pass podcast shout out. I know that Cody said he may be a little bit of a quitter. I mean, yeah, he did kind of give up on himself against Drew Dober. He tapped real quick against Darren Minner. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if he's so much a quitter that he just gasses. There's not really, your whole body language just changes when you have nothing left. And I just think he just gets into a rough spot and then just kind of gives up on himself. I don't think he's a quitter. I think he's just that tired that he just physically cannot go. All in all of his fights, please look at them. For round one, let's look at his wins, okay? Round one, 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 round three. Has a submission in round three. Round one, round one, round one. He has every single one of his wins is finished in round one, some by submission, some by knockout, outside of one fight. The man has 13 wins and 12 of them are first round finishes. That's why the under is set at 220. Now let's talk about the guy on the flip side, someone that I bet on actually in the Contender Series, and Ismail Bonfim. I like him a lot, man. I know in the Contender Series, they called him the lesser of the Bonfim brothers. Both of them fight on this fight card. Dude, I think he's the better one, to be honest with you. He has good striking. They're at a good camp at Serato MMA. This is going to be his debut at the Contender Series. I don't like that. But he's 27, just getting better. Strength of schedule. He's fought some decent guys here. I mean, the guy before the Contender Series in LFA, Dude, he's fought some pretty decent guys. Even his losses, he lost to Hanato Moicano, who's in the UFC and good, and that was back in 2014. He also lost to Adriano Moraes in his second ever career fight in 2011. Now, here's my weird thing. He's 27 years old. 2011. uh, that math isn't checking out. So I don't know if he's older or if he was doing some crazy shit over in Brazil. I mean, 2011 is what, 10, 12 years ago? If he's 27, he was 15. Is that legal? Can you fight professionally at 15? If it's legal, he was doing it, and he was fighting Adriano Moraes when he was 15 years old. So I'm not going to fault him for any of these losses down here. Even the one in 2014, that means he was, what, 3 years later? He was 18 years old fighting Hanato Moicano. Like, cut the kid some slack. And then he's been on a tear ever since. I mean, how many has he won straight? 6 to 17. He's won 11 straight fights. Like, the kid's on a tear. Good striking, good jujitsu. Love the body work. He loves ripping shots to the body. He'll throw that calf kick out there. He just wants to break you down. His cardio checks out. It doesn't look, it's not unbreakable. He does slow a touch in the third round, but enough to where he's just going to continue on. Man, I have no negatives to say about this guy. He's a very, very good fighter. The only negatives I could even come up with is the fact that his losses are all in the first round. So is he a little bit of a slow starter? Perhaps. Is that a good thing to be against Terrence McKinney? No, because Terrence McKinney comes out and finishes people in 15 seconds. So I want to bet Bonfim. I think he's the better fighter. He's the better cardio. I don't know if I even want to say better fighter. I think it's a 50-50 fight, and one is a plus sign. I like Bonfim a lot, but Terrence McKinney's one of my boys. You don't leave your boys. We learned this. But I like them both. I need to stay away from this fight. The pick is going to be Terrence. The bet probably going to be Bonfim, but I'm just going to completely stay away because I love both these dudes. I think they're both legit. It's unfortunate that they're fighting when they're 27 and 28. I wish they were fighting later on down the line. Pick Terrence, bet Bonfim, just because of the plus money. Next fight of the night's not one we're going to have to spend a lot of time on. Jailton Almeida is a minus 950 favorite going up against Shamil Abdurakhimov at plus 650. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 plus 260. Under 1.5 minus 335. Yep, you read that right. 335. That's because of Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida, phenomenal jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. Striking's okay. He more relies on his athleticism. He's explosive as hell. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage here. The only issue with him is his schedule is a little suspect. And he's a 205 pounder. He's not a heavyweight. He just takes heavyweight fights on the side just to pile up money. And he's taking pretty easy ones in Parker Porter and catchweight bouts with Anton. Like, he's taking fights that he shouldn't have to take any damage, which is smart. They booked the Shamil fight 3 separate times, so the UFC really wants to showcase this guy just kicking the shit out of Shamil. I also have no idea about his cardio. All of his wins are inside the distance. Also hence the minus 335. He has 2 losses, one by knockout, and he has 1 by decision. So the one time he went to decision, he lost. So is his cardio bad? Does he gas out? I have no idea. That very well could be an issue, but we're not going to find out because Shamil's not very good. Shamil, his striking is okay. That'd probably be the best part of his game. Otherwise, he's old as shit. His schedule's good. He's fought good people. He fought Derek Lewis. He fought Chris Dawkins. He fought Curtis Blades, but Sergey Pavlovich. But he didn't fight these guys. He got sacrificed to them, and he's getting sacrificed to Jailton. He's probably going to get cut after this fight. He's not exactly young. He's 41 years old, extremely hittable, 47% takedown defense, very low volume. Literally no positives to say about this guy at this juncture in his career. So the pick is going to be Jailton. The bet, God, Jailton inside the distance, it's still like minus 500 and something, but that's the only way to bet it. He ain't winning the decision. He's going to finish him. So the pick would be Jailton inside the distance. You have to parlay that. All right, next fight of the night, we have the second Bonfim brother. We have Gabriel Bonfim at minus 175 going up against Munir Lizez at plus 150. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 plus 120. Under 2.5 minus 150. I'll be honest with you. I I love listening to certain people. There's certain people that I just trust their opinion a ton. I trust Cody's opinion. I trust Paul's opinion. I trust Clint's opinion. And everyone's a little split on this fight. I generally try to lean with dog or pass when they are on the same page, and they both think Munir Lazez is going to win. Just as he is a live dog opportunity, and honestly, I agree. But I don't think I can go against the Bonfim brothers. I think they're the new Basharettes. I think these brothers are legit, both of them. And this is the younger one. He's only 25 years old. He kind of fights the same way. He's a very good striker. He's 13. He's the shiny 13-0 record. He's his jujitsu though. Like, yes, he fancies himself a boxer, but his jujitsu game, look at his wins, man. He has 13 wins, and they're all by submission. He has one knockout here, submission, 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 submission. Like they're literally all submissions. He has one knockout, even though his original love was boxing. So he can stand on the feet. He's a good striker. His wrestling seemed okay. It didn't look great. It looked okay. He ran the pipe on the Contender Series, looked pretty decent doing so. But it was against Trey Waters. He was a little bit of he's not that great. It just seems like he struggles with guys that are very tall and lengthy. That's the issue he has. And Munir is tall and lanky. So, like, although Bonfim is a credentialed boxer, he does get hit a little more than I'd like him to. I thought I saw that. The numbers weren't saying that I was seeing, but when you watch fight tape, he gets hit quite a bit. Not the biggest fan of that. But again, if this hits the ground, this is him all day. It's just, is this going to hit the ground? I don't know. I don't really see Munir Lazez wrestle a lot. He hasn't really fought anyone that really, he's fought predominantly strikers. Like Angelusa struck with him. Orliaves KO'd him quickly. Abdulrazak Alassane strikes. Even these I tried to watch in the contender series. Even these I tried to watch on the regional scene. Strikers, man. He fights strikers, and honestly, Bonefin is a striker, but he will wrestle, and he's a really good ground game. So it's kind of an unknown. The things I do know is that when he's 35 years old, not a fan of that. His striking's good, his volume's good. He'll have a 4-inch reach advantage. He's going to look fine on the feet, but his wrestling is, from what I saw, I don't really know, and it doesn't look that good from the little few moments I saw. His schedule, not that good. He didn't really fight any big name guys. Even like Sasha Plantnikov and Abdulrazak Alassane are probably his best wins. I guess Angelusa, these aren't great wins. So I don't know, man. This is a sketchy one. It's just Bonfim is the more skilled fighter, but he's making his debut and he's fighting a style of fighter that he's been struggling with. I totally get people if you want to bet Munir. I totally think he's a live dog to an extent, but I just think of, if this thing is on the feet, it's close. If this thing touches the ground, it's not. And Bonfim, even when he was struggling with Trey Waters, decided, you know what, I'm gonna get the takedown. And the moment it hit the mat, he got a Von Flue choke and choked him out. I just feel like he has that in his back pocket. And there's not a lot of, again, I don't lock anything that's over a minus 300. I don't want to just come on here and say all these minus 800s are going to win. Like, I don't like that. It's minus 300 maximum. There's not a lot of these under minus 300s I like. So Gabriel, yeah, I think I'm going to have to lock him in. He's just the better fighter. So the pick is going to be Gabriel. The bet is going to be Gabriel. Bonfim. Next fight of the night is going to be the other lock back to back. It's going to be an interesting time there. We have Thiago Moises at that aforementioned minus 300 limit, capped right at minus 300. We have, God bless me with the pronunciation, Melquaziali Costa. We'll just call him Mel Costa. That's what it says on his Tapology page. Plus 250. Over under, I didn't see at the time. Contingent on the fact that Costa's not coming in on short notice, man. So, I mean, the few fights I could watch on Costa, I couldn't see a ton, to be honest with you. The few I could see, it looks like his striking's good. He comes from Shoot to Box, which is a decent camp, but they all kind of fight the same. I just think of like the Vanderlei Silvas that come out with decent striking, and that's about it. He's going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. But again, he's 26. He's making his debut. I don't know, man. He seems to just fancy himself a striker. And when he tries to wrestle, things just don't seem to look good, to be honest with you. He's not the greatest wrestler. His jiu-jitsu is all right. It's sufficient, I suppose. He's just really unimpressive. He doesn't leave you awed. He doesn't leave you in amazement. You just see him and you go, oh, he's a decent striker. And that's about it. On the flip side, it's not like Moises is exactly an imposing figure either. His jiu-jitsu credentials say he is. He's a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's only 27 and getting better. He's with American Top Team, which they all annoy me, but it's a good fight camp. Um, Again, his jiu-jitsu is the best part of his game. Can he get it down there? Yeah, he's an okay wrestler. We saw him actually take down Islam Makhachev as an impressive feat. He did get him down at one point in that 4-round fight. His striking's weird. I've seen it look good. He looked phenomenal against Alexander Hernandez. He's pretty one-dimensional on the feet. He's just a pretty decent boxer. It's not terrible. It's not the worst. It's sufficient. His problems are his chin. His chin is not good. Michael Johnson nearly killed him. Bobby Green hurt him. That's not a good look. And Joel Alvarez went out there and TKO'd him in 3 minutes. Now, Joel didn't make weight for that fight, so he cheated a little bit, but I've seen this dude rocked in a ton of fights. He's usually one of these guys that get hurt but don't go out. Well, he went out that night, so it's a little questionable here. His cardio's good though. His cardio seems to check out in all these fights. A lot of comeback wins because he has the better cardio. So all in all, he's an okay fighter. He's going to be a gatekeeper. He's someone you're going to have to beat if you're any good. And I just don't know if Costa is. So the pick is going to be Thiago. The bet is going to be Thiago, and I think and with Costa being short notice, I think he does it kind of easily. Next fight of the night is one that scares the shit out of me. We have RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez at minus 330 going up against Bruno Ferreira. What is his name? Brazilian Hulk or Tiny Hulk or something at plus 275. Bruno's taking this fight on short notice, so we also don't have an over under for this one. So let's start with you know what? Let's start with RoboCop. RoboCop could be a top 5 guy if he had any sort of ring IQ. He's a pretty good striker. He's phenomenal on the ground. He is world class jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's not bad. It's pretty decent, to be 100% honest with you. The problem with him is that he has no chin. He has a ton of power. He slows down in fights. His cardio doesn't seem the greatest. And he just gets in brawls. His fight against Chidi was an absolute war. His fight against Julian Marquez, he just murked him. Armin Petrosian, absolute war. Jung Young Park, absolute war. Dusko was a little cleaner, but it was still a lot harder than it had to be. Why? Because Dusko can't wrestle. Dusko has nothing on the ground, and this dude chose to strike with him. He thinks he's a striker. He keeps knocking people out, and it's getting him overexcited. And he keeps just striking. He will not wrestle. He will not submit you. For someone that's so good on the ground, I mean, you look early on in his career, and you see he got knocked out. Then you see, oh, well, I got knocked out, so I'm going to go to my wheelhouse and tap him out. Then his next one, I'm going to my wheelhouse and tap him out. His next one, I'm going to go to my wheelhouse and tap him out. Then he fucked around and got a knockout. Then he got submission his next fight. And from there, decision, and got knockout, decision, knockout. He fell in love with the knockout. That's what we're saying. Early on in his career, kept getting subs. Then he knocked someone out. But, ooh, this is fun. And just keeps getting into scraps. That's not your game. You are a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You have okay wrestling. And your striking is good, but mix it up. Don't just go out there and strike with strikers. That's the part that drives me crazy, especially if you have a bad chin. You can dish it out. He hits extremely hard, but if you hit him back, you can put him out. On the flip side, he has Bruno, someone who can put him out. Bruno Ferreira is knockout or bust. When you look at this guy, he's undefeated. He's 9-0. What is it? The Hulk is his nickname. Enough said. Look at this dude. He's a little undersized. He should probably be at welterweight, but he's a short little tank. And when you look at his 9 wins, first round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout, second round knockout, first round knockout, first round, second round, first round, first round. He's never made it to a third round. And they're all by knockout outside of he has a triangle choke, rear naked choke, armbar. Okay, he has a few more submissions than I remember. But his last 1, 2, 3, 4, his last 5 wins are all by knockout. He's predominantly going to knock you out or take you down, and this ground and pound is phenomenal. He's very, very good on the ground. He will punch your lights out. Ground game, okay, but not to the level of Gregory. Gregory should be able to, if he just takes this guy down, He'll be able to tap him out easily. But Gregory's not going to do that. Gregory fancies himself a knockout king. He's going to go out there and scrap with this little man that they call the Hulk. Common sense says Gregory. Gregory is the striking's 50-50. The ground game is Gregory hands down. The wrestling is Gregory hands down. Common sense says Gregory comes out here and kills him. He very well could. But if RoboCop comes out and just scraps with this guy, you don't want this man hitting your chin. RoboCop chin is not good. He got knocked out by fucking Jordan Williams, a diabetic welterweight. Like, you don't want to scrap with these guys with infinite power. RoboCop's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it. So the pick is going to be RoboCop. Greg Rodriguez is the better fighter. To bet Bruno. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the flyer. I think I will have money on Bruno by knockout, get good odds, and call it a day. I don't trust RoboCop's ring IQ at all. So give me the debuting fighter that has absolutely nothing to lose. Taking it on short notice, big name, all your wins are by knockout. Go for it, baby. Next fight of the night, speaking of going for it, we have the last career fight where Mauricio Shogun Hua at plus 170 going up against Ihor Pretoria at minus 200. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 125. Over 1.5 minus 125. Under 1.5 minus 105. This is a total setup fight. Dude, Shogun, he's 41 years old. He's a legend of the sport. You think about Pride Shogun. You think about Shogun, who was a former UFC champion back when I was in middle school or something like that. What did he lose to? John Jones. That was back in 2011. Oh my God. He won the belt against Machida when I was in high school. God. Jesus, he's so old. He's so old. He's 41 years old physically, but in fight years, he's like 68. Like, this dude has been he's been through some shit. He's been in some wars. His body doesn't even look the same at 205. I mean, he'll always have his striking. He's just a lot slower. He'll have his ground game, but he can't really use it. He'll have his wrestling was never even really ever that good. Can't do it now. He'll gas him out. His cardio sucks now. His chin used to be legendary. It's ass now that he's 41. He's mad. He's just physically an old man. He's an old, decrepit old man. He's just falling apart. All he knows is fighting. He loves fighting. He's good at fighting, but his body just can't hold any longer. How is he going to ever win a UFC fight? Probably not. So what did the UFC do? Hey, if you want to retire, we will give you the worst light heavyweight we have on the roster. A la Ihor Pretoria. You wouldn't think he's the worst. When you look at his record, you go 18-3. Why are they giving him this guy? One of the most fraudulent records I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this dude, let's just take a quick peek at his record. People he's fought: 0-0, 2-2, 0-0, 17-17, 3-2, 3-2, 5-5. 1-6, 3-2, 1-2, 0-0, 5-6, 0-0. Like, at this point, you've had 12 professional wins. You're 10-2. Why are you fighting people that are 0-0? Well, that was fun. So let's fight my next fight against someone that's 1-9, 17-18, 0-0. Bro, you have had 15 career fights. Why are you fighting someone making their debut? You know what? That's not good enough. His next fight, 0-3. What is going on? 11-5, 5-2. Then he comes on to the Contender Series, and they're like, you know what? We don't think this guy is real, but we'll give him a chance. Let's give him this Lucas guy. And they get into a scrap. And you know what happens? Much to everyone's surprise, Ihor catches him, knocks him out in 3 minutes. Just catches him. I'll give the guy his credit. He has power. His striking, it's not elite. It's okay. He can strike it a little bit. Jiu-jitsu, don't know. It looks terrible from what I've seen on the regional scene. Wrestling, god awful from what I saw on the regional scene. Cardio, woked. Bad cardio. He has to go out there and knock you out in the first round. He has no choice because he has no cardio outside of the first round. So who does he get his very first fight in the UFC? Nicholas Naragamenu, who's notorious for being one of the worst light heavyweights on the roster. And what happens? Nikolai knocks him out in the second round, and Ihor is completely gassed going into that second round. He's turning his back to Nikolai. He can't even stand up straight. He's throwing everything with just half-assing it, half-hearting it. And Nikolai goes out and knocks him out. Not a good look because Nikolai is not good. He's a Romanian wrestler. He's not the greatest wrestler, and you get knocked out by that guy. So Ihor is literally the biggest fraud on the UFC roster currently. So they're trying to give Shogun a shot. You're in your hometown, 41, you're a legend, and your retirement fight. That's the part that gets me. Fighters don't win their retirement fight. The Dan Hendersons, the Daniel Cormiers, the Little Nogs. Nobody wins their retirement. The only person I could think of that ever said I'm retiring after this fight and won, literally the only person I could think of is Chris Lytle. Other people have done it. People like Faber have done it, but then they came back and they fought again, so it doesn't count. The only person I can literally think of that said this is my last fight, I'm never fighting again, stayed true to it and won was Chris Lytle back in like 07. Continued to do his fireman thing, called it a day. That's the only person. If you say this is your last fight, it's an automatic loss, literally every single time. So here we go with Shogun, 41, fighting a fraud. Oh, I think we're going to have another Frankie Yeager situation. My heart really wanted to bet Shogun. I can definitely see a path. All he has to do is survive round one. He is good, but all I see is Frankie Yeager in his hometown in New York getting KO'd by Chris Gutierrez, who doesn't really knock anyone out. So I can't do it. I love you, Shogun. I think he's an absolute legend. I can't bet him. And I'm fuck no to betting Ihor. I'm just gonna let this one ride. The pick is gonna be Ihor. The bet, I can't. If anything, I guess the under. Maybe Shogun catches him with something. We get lucky. -105 to the under. Yeah, why not? I'll take the under. Either guy is probably gonna win in the under. Neither one has 2 rounds of cardio, so under. Next fight of the night, you want to talk about absolute stay away fights. We have 2 of the biggest apple pie shitters in the history of the UFC. We have Paul Bear Jew Craig at +160 going up against Johnny Weirdo Walker at -190. Over under set at 1.5 of these two. Over 1.5, it's +135. Under 1.5, -165. Which fuck up do you want to start with first? Let's do Bear Jew Paul Craig. Phenomenal jiu-jitsu. Best jiu-jitsu I've ever seen at light heavyweight. He's tapped out Magomed Ankalaev. He's tapped out Nikita Krylov. He's tapped out Jamal Hill. He's phenomenal on the ground. Striking sucks. Wrestling sucks. Chin sucks. Volume sucks. Extremely hittable. Cardio sucks. He literally can't do anything but submit you, but he can't wrestle to get you down there. I mean, you talked about how old Shogun is and how he's just a shell of himself. He went to a draw with Shogun 3 years ago. That's concerning. That's very concerning. So, yeah. Does he have great wins on his record? Absolutely. You know why? Because Antigulov, or not Antigulov, what am I saying? Because Ankalaev got a little tired. He played around down there for a second and got tapped out with 1 second left on the clock. Latest comeback in UFC history. 1 second left in the fight. Ankalaev taps. Rarity. Ankalaev was whooping his ass the entire time. His other win, Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill went out there. The fight was only 2 minutes long, and Jamal Hill was whooping his ass on the feet. Makes the mistake of going down to the ground with him. Gets his arm stuck, gets it snapped in half. It is what it is. Nikita Krylov beat the shit out of Paul Craig. Paul Craig was literally knocked out. Nikita Krylov follows him down to the ground to get the ground and pound finish. One of the punches woke Paul Craig up. I swear to God, he was knocked out on the ground. One of Nikita's punches re-woke him up off of impact. Paul Craig woke up and submitted him. He's just like, oh, we're on the ground. Let's do this. Submitted him. Like, this dude, it's the weirdest wins. In his last fight, the only way to win is how his last fight went against Vulcan. The floor is lava. Stay off the ground. Do not go to I don't care if you knock him down. I don't care if he tries to pull guard. Get the fuck up. Do not go to the ground with Paul Craig because he has nothing left. Nothing else to offer you. On the flip side, Johnny Walker Good striker, I suppose, but he's been very low volume as of late. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage, which is nice. His jiu-jitsu isn't the worst. He has a sneaky little ground game on him, but I would not test it out in this matchup. Wrestling, I don't know. I know it's a 58% takedown defense. That's not a good look. If he gets taken down, he's fucked. It's over. I don't want to bet this fight. It's a clear striker versus grappler. If Johnny keeps it on the feet, he should knock out Paul Craig easily. If Paul Craig gets to the ground, he should tap out Johnny Walker easily. Who's the better wrestler? They both suck at wrestling. So I have no fucking clue. I don't know what's going to happen here. I want no part of it. What I'm hoping is that it's very slow and drawn out like the Vulcan fight. And I'm going to take the over. I'm hoping, I know if Walker fights the way he usually fights, he should just go out there and knock him out. But the last few fight Johnny Walker, Ian Cutelaba, Jamal Hill, Thiago Santos, he's been a little hesitant, man. He's been real hesitant. He got knocked out by actually, ever since he got knocked out by Corey Anderson, he's been real hesitant. He went to decision with Nikita Krylov. No one saw that coming. That's just as big of a surprise as this fight being 1.5, and over 1.5 is plus money. So if he continues to be tentative like he's been the last 3 years, I think this thing hits the over. If fight him like Ozdemir did. Volkan Ozdemir went to decision with Paul Craig because the floor was lava and he was very cautious. Paul Craig keeps flopping to his back. Good. I hope Paul Craig flops his back for 2 straight rounds. Please do. Give me the over money. Call it a day. Then you can get knocked out. Then you can sap him out. Whatever you want to do. But just keep pulling guard for 2 rounds like you did the last few fights, and we're good. So the pick is going to be Johnny Walker. Yeah, but the bet's going to be the over 1.5. Again, that minus 300 rule is a thing, mostly because of like this next fight. Jessica Andrade minus 490, Lauren Murphy plus 390, over 2.5 minus 130, under 2.5 plus 100. This is going to be Jessica Andrade by murder, man. Jessica Andrade is a good fighter. Fights at she fights at flyweight and strawweight. That part concerns me because Lauren Murphy's going to be a decent bit bigger. But Andrade is good striking. She has great jujitsu. She has high volume. Her wrestling is not terrible. It's okay. It's good wrestling. Ton of power. She's just a little tank. Her cardio's not as bad as I thought it was, especially for 3 rounds. She'll go 3 rounds all day. 5 rounds, she might slow down a little, but 3 rounds, she's perfectly fine. She loves to move forward. Literally, her only con is the fact that she is undersized. And when she's at 115, she struggles to make weight a little bit. So she's one of these tweeners. That's about it. That's the weight. Literally, her wrestling, I take it back. Her offensive wrestling is okay. Her defensive wrestling, not the greatest. It's all right. Cynthia Calvillo didn't get a chance to do anything, but what's her name? Valentina did. I don't know, man. She's just good everywhere. Even when you look at a lot of her losses were at 135. This girl was a former 115-pound champion. A lot of her losses are at 135. When you look at her losses that aren't at 135, she lost to Joanna, who's one of the GOATs, Wei Li Zhang, one of the GOATs, Rose, one of the GOATs, Valentina might be the actual GOAT. She's only lost to champions that are, yeah. If you're not 135, wow, yeah, literally. If you're not 135, she's only lost to champions. So, is Lauren Murphy ever going to be champion? Fuck no. Lauren Murphy, I mean, her striking's okay. Her ground game's sneaky good. She's actually, I think she's a black belt. She might be by now. She's a little older. Her wrestling, she'll mix in a wrestling here and there, like won a fight. Like she'll sneak some in. She's a little hittable. I don't like that. She's awfully durable. She's gonna have a 10-6 reach advantage here, but she's 39. She's got to start slowing down at some point. Valentina beat the shit out of her. I know she had some sort of illness going on, but a lot of her fights have been close, man. I mean, the Joanne Wood fight was 50-50. They gave her the split. Andrea Lee was 50-50. They gave her the split. I don't know, man. She's all right, but she's not ready for this. I like Lauren. I think she's good, and she does do a lot better when she's going forward. She does not look comfortable getting backed up. And I'll tell you what, Jessica Andrade is coming forward, and she's coming at her. And it's in Jessica's hometown, so even if it does go to decision, all of these split wins that Lauren has, I don't know if she's gonna get in Brazil against Jessica. And that's if it goes to decision. Jessica may murder her beforehand. So the pick is going to be Jessica. The bet is going to be Jessica, but I would do parlays because she's such a big favorite. Next fight of the night is another big Brazilian as favorite. We have Gilbert Del Reno Burns, minus 435, going up against Neil Magny at plus 350. Over 2.5, minus 120, under 2.5, minus 110. I'll be honest with you. Neil Magny looks like he's slowing down. Neil Magny's not super old. He's 35, but he looks like all of the years, all of the battles are starting to wear on him. I mean, he has the most wins in welterweight history because he fights so goddamn much. Yes, he's 35 years old, but in fight years, he's like 45, and you can see it. His chin's starting to deteriorate. Elevation's it's a great place to train, but that Daniel Rodriguez fight was close. Shavkat was able to get him out of there. Max Griffin, he won a split decision. That was a little greasy, and Max Griffin almost deaded him. Like he rocked him. He's getting rocked quite a bit. He's getting out wrestled by Mike Chiesa. He's just starting to slow down. I mean, his striking's still okay. He's long and lanky. His jiu-jitsu's okay. His wrestling's okay. His cardio's great. His schedule's pretty good. It's just he's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage here. I like that. He's just a generalist, and when he fights the elite of the elite, Shavkat finish, Michael Chiesa smothered him, Santiago finish, RDA finish. Like he gets to the point where he's fighting the real deal, and then he just seems to get finished. Is Gilbert the real deal? Yeah, man. Gilbert is good striking, world class jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's all right. We've seen it against Steven Thompson. Um, he's all right. He does what he has to do. His schedule great. He's fought for the world title. Looked good in the world championship fight. He's 36, so he's no spring chicken. He's actually older than Neil, but not in fight years. Um, he's not chinny at all, but for some reason, if you jab him, he goes down. Kamzat jab goes down. Freaking Kamaru Usman knockout by jab. Like I don't know what's going on here. His cardio, he slows. He does slow in fights. He has 3-round cardio. He doesn't have 5. And even in the third round, he's not the same fighter he was in the first round. And he's a 155 pounder. He's not an actual welterweight. He kills himself to make 155, but he just always seems a little undersized at 170. If they had like a 160, he might be champ, man. He'd be fine there. But he's just too little for welterweight, too big for 155. He's just kind of stuck in the middle. As he's getting older, he's just staying up at 170. But he'll hold his own. It's just he does struggle against kind of lanky guys with these power jabs, but Neil Magny has zero power whatsoever. So I think he's going to just march forward and try to kill Neil. He can catch Neil for sure. Gilbert packs a ton of power. And if he wants to take Neil down, I think he sub him. I have a friend, I mean, shout out Steve, is convinced that it's going to be an under. And I don't hate the call, to be honest with you. The more I talk about it, the more I look at it, the more I agree. So the pick is going to be Gilbert. The bet would either be Gilbert in a parlay, or I might go with our boy Steve and bet the under. All right. Next fight of the night is the first title fight of the night. We have Brandon Moreno minus 115, Davison Figueroa minus 105. Over under set at 4.5. Over 4.5 minus 150. Under 4.5 plus 120. Let's start with Brandon because obviously we have the Glory MMA drama. He was a hot free agent, didn't know where he wanted to train, decided he just gelled to Glory MMA. Then we have all of the betting drama, all of the where they fixing fights. Just not a good look. So obviously he's no longer able to train there. I believe he's been training with Saif Saud over at Fortis MMA. That's a great camp, man. I'll be honest with you. I was all over him versus Kai Kara France. I thought he was going to absolutely murder KKF. That fight was greasy. I thought he was losing, to be 100% honest with you. He was able to be resilient, come back and win. He has good striking. He has great cardio. He has a 2-inch reach advantage in this matchup. His jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. His wrestling good. Yeah, man, he's durable as all hell. I think he's a great fighter. He's a complete package. He was champion for a reason. It's just, I don't know, man. I mean, he's never been knocked out or finished in general. professionally. He that last fight just really scared me. He did not look his best against KKF. So I'm hoping that Safe Sayud's able to fine tool some things because I've watched this fight. This is the fourth time these men have fight. The first time, Figgy absolutely killed him, lost points based on low blows, ended up being a draw. But Figgy technically won. Second fight, he went out there and killed Figgy. He went out there, starched him on the feet, and then subbed him in the second round or third round. Clearly Moreno. Third fight, who's truly better? One looked better one night, one looked better the other night. Who is the real winner? Went to decision. It says unanimous. That thing was basically a split decision. And Davidson actually landed less strikes. Moreno landed more strikes than Davidson. But Davidson had 3 knockdowns that stole him the round. He didn't knock him out, but he did drop him. And that won him the round, even though Moreno was winning the whole thing. So it just leaves you with another, well, that's 50-50. I have no idea who won that fight. So here we go with a fourth time. This is unprecedented. I don't know if there's ever been any people that have fought 4 times. Fun fact for you, when you look at Davidson, he's 35 years old, and you'll see the stat. Like the last time he fought someone that was not Brandon Moreno, he was 31. He's fought the same guy for 4 years. Like at one point, I'm sure Figgy is sick of seeing Moreno. But at the end of the day, you got to beat him decisively. Like you lost to him, you had a split, or you had a close decision, and you had a draw. Like they're the 2 best in the weight class. He's coming off an injury. He's no longer at Fight Ready. Fight Ready was a great camp. I still think they're the best fight camp out there. He was with them, came out, won a decision. They got his cardio in check. His weight was under control. Loved every second of Figgy. And he even had Getting Figgy with it, had his own theme song. Figgy at Fight Ready was real. This fight's in Brazil. He didn't want to go to Arizona just to come back to Brazil. I totally get that. He's on his own out there in Brazil. I don't know how his weight is. I've heard it's not great. I'm not trusting this, to be honest with you. I mean, as a fighter, he has good jiu-jitsu, he has good wrestling, he has good striking, he hits extremely hard. Um, his cardio, he does slow, but he'll continue to fight, man. He'll fight for your dollar. He'll keep swinging, even though he has nothing left. He's going to keep going. He even won a 5th round against Moreno in 2 of the fights. Like that's impressive there. I don't know, man. I don't like him not being at Fight Ready. I don't like these rumors about his weight. I know Moreno did not look good his last fight, but Figgy's getting older. He's coming off an injury. He hasn't fought in a year. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to go Moreno. I think Moreno's the pick. It's a clear 50-50 fight. Obviously, they're booking it for a 4th time. That screams 50-50. No one really knows who's better. I'll say Moreno this night, but it's also in Brazil. Figgy's the hometown guy. If this goes to decision, it could get a little greasy. So what I'm probably just going to do is bet the over. The fight has gone over 2 out of the 3 times. Maybe it's 3 out of the 4. And Figgy did really, really struggle to make weight that second time. Maybe that's why his durability was gone. Moreno's durability has been there the whole time. If Figgy can make weight and look okay, I'll trust that his durability can survive. So the pick is going to be Brandon, but the bet's just going to be the over because I cannot pick a side there. And then that takes us to the main event. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever there's social media. There is a Stats and Stacks podcast. But we're jumping right into it with Jamal Hill. Now showing a minus 140, Glover Teixeira plus 110, over under set at 1.5, over 1.5 minus 135, under 1.5 plus 105. Let's start with Glover, man, a legend. You want to talk about Shogun being old? Dude, Glover's 43. He has good striking, great jiu-jitsu, pretty good wrestling. His cardio's all right. It's good for a 43-year-old. He does slow a little in this day and age. He's hittable. Don't like that. He does have a 42-year-old chin. He does get rocked in every single one of his fights. Yuri rocked him. Jan, I don't think Jan touched him. Thiago Santos rocked him bad. Anthony Smith rocked him bad. Nikita Krylov rocked him bad. Ian Kutalaka rocked him. Carl Robinson rocked him bad. So I'm literally looking at his last few fights, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On his 6-fight win streak, on his 5-fight win streak before he won for the title, he got rocked in all 5. You can crack this guy in the first round. He's there to get hit. He's just not as fast as he used to be. He's 43 years old, but he seems to be durable enough because he takes the shot, then you gas yourself out, and here he comes, baby. Take down, submit you, take down, beat the shit out of you. what have you. He's going to go out there and get the job done. And then he went and put on an absolute war against Yuri Prohaska in one of the fights of the year. His striking looked fine there. Yuri wasn't able to put him out. Like he was good. Like he's an ageless veteran, man. He's like fine wine. He just keeps going. 43 years old, though, man. That's the thing. It's can he continue this rope a dope strategy of where he's getting beat up and then he figures you out and he comes and he just gets the job done? I don't know. Jamal Hill's a weird case. His takedown defense is not good. He's not. He has a 65% takedown defense. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not good. His get up game seemed pretty good, but his last fight against Thiago Santos, he was on the ground. He was on his back for a little bit. He was on his back for like 6 minutes. Not the biggest fan of that. His striking's good. His volume's phenomenal. His cardio's great. You have a 3-inch reach advantage here. I like everything about Jamal Hill. He's training with Anthony Smith. Respect. I mean, that's the guy he was supposed to fight. Anthony Smith is the guy that's the fill-in in case one of them can't make weight. Like Jamal Hill, he's now just upgraded to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. He's working on his ground game. You want to get tapped out by Paul Craig? What do? You just work your ground game like crazy. His wrestling, though, man, 65%. I don't like that number against Glover. So are we going to see? I see one of two things happening. He's going to go out there and crack Glover easy, make it look like the Gustafsson fight, or he's going to go out there, try to crack him, and then kind of get outlasted by old man Glover like the Anthony Smith fight. Which one is it going to be? I don't know. I honestly can say I have no idea. But what I will tell you is I think Jamal Hill's good. I think he's the real deal, but he's also kind of he's kind of a benefit of the weight class itself. His win streak's a little questionable, to be 100% honest with you. The Paul Craig fight, he lost. He got overzealous, went to the ground, got tapped out. Win against Jimmy Crute, solid win. Nothing to say there. Nothing bad to say. Jimmy Crute, phenomenal. Johnny Walker is zero chin. No one talked about how bad it was before. They're like, oh, look at Sweet Cream's power. Dude, Johnny Walker is no chin. Thiago Santos, he got taken on 6 times. He did not look good. He might have been losing that fight. It was a pretty close fight. And Thiago Santos also has no legs. He had tore all of his ACLs just a few years ago, and he's like 40 years old himself. So not the greatest win. And Jimmy Crute's a young kid. So he beat a young kid, whatever, good win. Johnny Walker, Chinny, Johnny Walker's not the greatest. He's been exposed. Thiago Santos, we now know, is too old and has been cut. Is that the greatest win streak? OSP before the Paul Craig loss. OSP, not the greatest fighter. He's old, washed up. Klidson Abreu, Darko Stochek, like these aren't good fighters. All these guys have been cut. And Darko took him down a million times. Like his takedown defense really scares me because I don't think he's getting up from Glover as easy as he is against Darko Stochek. But at the same time, Glover's gonna have to get him there, and he's gonna have to get in range to do so, and he might get pieced up and uppercutted along the way. Like dude, that chin scares me. It's 43. I don't think I can bet on the 43-year-old. The pick is gonna be Hill. The bet is gonna be Hill. And I am you know what? The bet's probably gonna be the over. It may go over one. I don't know. The pick is gonna be Hill, and I think I'm just gonna bet Hill. And at that juncture, if I still have PRPs alive, if I still have any parlays alive, I'm putting Hill in basically all of them. If they're still alive, I'll just live bet Glover, or not live bet. I'll bet Glover and hedge. That's what I did with Glover when he won his title. He was a plus 200 against Jan Blachowicz. I had 3 parlays that were still going. I just threw some money on Glover just in case, and I'm sure glad I did because that's the only reason it was a winning night. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Odds aren't as good, only plus 110, but the pick is going to be Jamal. The bet's going to be Jamal, and we are going to edge with Glover because this fight can go either way. And that's UFC 283. Hill versus Teixeira. Again, make sure you give this a like, give it a follow, and let's make sure we go ahead, hit that subscribe, and make sure we go ahead and get money this weekend, baby. Let's get it.